It is midnight, 70,000 years ago, and you are lying on the ground in southern Africa. There is no mattress, there is no pillow, there is no door to lock because there is no door anywhere on earth. In the dark, something with a skull twice the size of yours crosses the valley, and it hunts at night, and it can smell you. And here is the part nobody tells you. You are about to fall asleep anyway, deeply. Better, in some ways, than you slept last night, on a bed that cost more than everything this camp owns. Now, you already have a picture in your head. A caveman flops down in the dirt, in a cave, wrapped in a fur, done. That picture is wrong, and it is wrong in a way that hides the best story in human evolution, because sleep was the most dangerous thing your ancestors did. Not hunting, not fighting, lying down, paralyzed, deaf to the world, for a third of every single day, surrounded by animals built to eat exactly that. So how did they get away with it every night for 300,000 years? The answer is a system so clever it is still running inside you, and it is the reason you wake up at 3 in the morning for no reason at all. Stay with me, because that part is coming. So picture what the dark actually holds while you lie there. Hyenas, with jaws that crack femurs. Leopards, that pull bodies into trees. Lions, hunting in the exact hours you are asleep. Snakes, following warmth. Scorpions, in the bedding. Ants, in columns. Mosquitoes, carrying fevers. Rain, arriving sideways. Cold, arriving from below. Darkness so total you cannot see your own hand. And your plan, your entire plan, is to lose consciousness in the middle of it, on purpose until sunrise, every night, forever. That is the arena. Now fall asleep in it. Now the first surprise. They did not sleep in the dirt. In a place called Border Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found bedding. Layers of soft grass, laid down on purpose, again and again in the same sleeping spots. The age of the oldest layers is around 200,000 years. Let that number land. 200,000 years ago, before anyone had sewn a stitch of clothing, somebody looked at the ground, decided it was unacceptable, and built a mattress. The bed is not a modern invention. The bed is older than the modern human face, and it gets smarter. At another South African site, Sibudu, the bedding is about 77,000 years old, made of sedges and rushes, and on top, there is a finishing layer of leaves from a very specific tree. A laurel, whose leaves are full of chemicals that kill insects and repel mosquitoes. That is not luck. You do not accidentally choose the one leaf in the forest that works as bug spray and then keep choosing it for generations. That is a tested, inherited chemical technology on a mattress at a time when there were maybe a few thousand of us on the entire planet. Your memory foam does not treat you this well. Then there is the fire itself, and at night fire is not a stove, it is architecture. It is the wall. A camp asleep is arranged in rings. Fire in the middle, kept alive through the night. Children and the old closest to the warmth, in the safest core. Adults further out, bodies between the dark and the small. The fire buys light and heat from above, and smoke that pushes insects away, and a boundary that almost nothing on four legs is willing to cross. One fire, 4 problems solved, but fire still does not solve the big one. Everyone is still unconscious, which brings us to the discovery this whole video exists for. A few years ago, scientists put motion trackers on the Hadza, hunter-gatherers in Tanzania who sleep in camps, outdoors, the old way. 33 adults, tracked over 20 days of nights. Then they asked a simple question. How often was the whole camp asleep at the same time? Across 20 days, out of thousands of minutes of darkness, the answer was 18 minutes. Total. The camp as a whole essentially never slept. Somebody was always awake. Not on guard duty. Nobody was assigned. It happened by itself because human sleep schedules are staggered by biology, and that stagger is the security system. It even has a name, the Sentinel Hypothesis. And before you file that under interesting, understand what it means about you tonight. The stagger is built from age. Teenagers are wired to crash late and wake late. Older people are wired to fade early and snap awake before dawn. Put one camp of mixed ages together, and the night gets covered end to end, automatically. No rota, no argument. So your grandmother, who is up at 4:30 in the morning, is not broken. She's on shift. Her body is guarding a camp that stopped existing thousands of years ago. And your 3 a.m. jolt, staring at the ceiling, listening, same thing. The watchman clocking in, finding no camp and not knowing what to do with the shift. Because understand what the night was before fire. It was not our shift. Look at the eyes of a lion or a hyena, the way they flash in a beam of light. That shine is a mirror behind the retina that recycles light, and it means the night belongs to them. Our eyes do not have it. We got daytime color vision instead, and after sunset, we are functionally blind prey with delicious calves. For millions of years, the hours of darkness were simply hours we had to survive, not use. Which is why the oldest human answer to night was not on the ground at all. It was above it. Our early ancestors slept in the trees, like chimpanzees still do. Every chimp, every single night, builds a nest up in the canopy, bends branches, weaves a platform, adds a leafy rim, 5 to 20 meters off the ground, new nest every night. Millions of years of our family album look like that. A bed with a view and a moat of empty air, because height is the one wall that works without fire. And if things had stayed that way, you would not be watching this, because there is a hidden tax on tree sleep, and it is paid in the one currency that matters: brain time. You cannot fully switch off in a tree. Fall asleep too deeply on a branch, and gravity grades your homework. Tree sleepers sleep light, gripping, balanced, brains half on. Then, somewhere around 1.5 million years ago, Homo erectus does something that should have been suicide. It comes down. It starts sleeping on the flat, open, predator-owned ground. And the reason it can even try is fire. Fire is the moat now. The camp is the nest now. The circle of bodies is the branch that holds you. Nobody at the time could have known it, but that trade, height for fire, was the single best deal our lineage ever made. Because look what the ground buys. For the first time in millions of years, a primate can go all the way under. Full muscle shutdown. Long, deep, uninterrupted dives into the sleep stages where the real work happens. And compare us to our cousins today. Chimps sleep 9 to 12 hours, shallow. Humans sleep about 7, the shortest of any ape, but a far bigger share of it is REM, the deep dreaming state. Shorter sleep, massively richer. And REM is where the brain files memories, connects ideas, rehearses problems, builds tomorrow out of today. In other words, we did not just start sleeping on the ground. We started sleeping like a species that was about to invent everything. And inside the huddle, there is a map, and the map is brutal and honest. The middle of the sleeping circle is the safest real estate on Earth, and it belongs to the babies, the children, the old, the sick. The edge belongs to whoever can afford risk, the strong, the expendable, the ones on the early watch. Where you slept was your status, written on the ground, renegotiated every night, and you have not let go of it. Ask any couple who has a side of the bed. Ask yourself why you sleep better with your back to the wall, facing the door, and why the hotel bed facing away from the entrance feels wrong in your spine. You are still choosing your spot in the circle. And notice who is in the middle of every huddle. The baby. Human infants are born absurdly helpless, and for our entire history as a species, a baby slept in contact with its mother. Skin heat, heartbeat, breath, the whole regulation package, every night, for 300,000 years. The separate nursery, the cot in another room, the baby monitor standing in for a body, all of that is roughly 1.5 centuries old. Which is nothing. It is one heartbeat of evolutionary time. So when a newborn screams the moment it is put down alone, it is not being difficult. It is checking the one fact that used to decide survival. Am I in contact with my people? Yes or no? There is one more thing they did at night that will sound like malfunction to you. They slept twice. Before electric light, humans all over the world slept in 2 blocks. A first sleep from soon after dark, then, around midnight, an hour or 2 of quiet waking, then a second sleep until dawn. Old letters and court records talk about first sleep and second sleep like everyone knows, because everyone did. The middle hour was for feeding the fire, talking low, praying, sex, thinking. It was a normal room in the house of the night. Then artificial light compressed our evenings, squeezed the 2 sleeps into one 8-hour brick, and we forgot the middle room ever existed. Which reframes a very modern misery. You go to bed at 11, you wake at 3, wide awake, and you lie there furious, convinced your sleep is broken. But look at the clock. You are waking exactly where the old middle hour used to be. Your body is not failing. It is keeping an appointment that the rest of the world canceled 2 centuries ago. The insomnia panic, checking the time, doing the arithmetic of how ruined tomorrow will be. That spiral is the modern part. The waking itself is ancient, and for 200,000 years it was not even a problem. It was just the night, doing its shift change. Now walk through your bedroom tonight and count the fossils. A white noise machine, playing the river and the wind. A weighted blanket, pressing down like a huddle of sleepers. A night light, standing in for embers. The dog on the bed, your outsourced sentinel. The fan, because still air feels wrong. Locking the door, twice. Checking behind the curtain, once. Sleeping on your side, knees up, back to the wall, facing the exit. The pillow you clutch like a person. None of that is decor. That is a campsite, rebuilt from memory, by a species that cannot remember why. So tally the whole trade. They slept exposed, cold from below, hunted from every side, and it cost them real losses, every generation, for hundreds of thousands of years. But the system they built to survive it, the engineered bed, the burned bedding, the firewall, the ringed camp, the staggered watch, the deep protected REM, did not just keep them alive. It upgraded the machine. Safer nights bought deeper sleep. Deeper sleep bought sharper days. Sharper days bought better camps, and the loop closed, and it spiraled, and a scared ape lying in the grass became the animal that redesigned the planet. The mattress came first. The mind followed. So, why did ancient humans sleep on the ground? Wrong question, and by now you can feel it. They did not sleep on the ground because they were primitive. They slept on the ground because they had built the only place on Earth where a primate could afford to be fully unconscious. A defended, heated, staffed, chemically pest-controlled, socially organized machine for being helpless in safety. It had no walls and no roof, and it worked so well that your species runs on its firmware to this hour. You do not sleep like a modern human in a modern room. You sleep like a Stone Age human in a room pretending to be a cave. Back to you then. On the ground, 70,000 years ago. That thing still crossing the valley in the dark. Now you know why you fell asleep anyway. Grass under you, fire beside you, 30 heartbeats around you, a teenager who will not be sleepy for hours yet, an old woman who will be up before the birds, and a brain that knows, in a way deeper than thought, that the night is covered. That is what a bed actually is. Not foam. Coverage. Tonight, when you curl up on your side and pull the blanket to your chin, say a quiet thanks to the people who beta tested it. Like this video if they earned it, subscribe for the next question, and go argue in the comments about whether you would survive the forest. Sleep well. Someone is always awake.